Welcome to the NFL Saturday Podcast. This is Amp.
And I'm Scotty.
And we're here to catch you up on fantasy football for the week. And we'll have some fun along the way.
And we'll never know.
And we'll never know. And it's been so long since we've done that. We have been very busy, both of us, for different reasons. Your schedule is insane right now. And it's been busy at work for me. So we're finally getting back into it. And I'm very excited. I don't know if you're excited because today we're talking about best ball. And we're going to go over a best ball draft that we actually did together. So it's going to be fun.
I'm excited to get back into football. It's been a long, what do you say, like 6 months off?
Yeah.
6 months no football? I'm excited.
6 months no football. And I've been watching all the preseason games. I don't know. I've been watching all the highlights. I've been betting on the preseason games on DraftKings. So
the only preseason game I've watched so far is when the Ravens beat that one. Oh, was it the Eagles? Yeah.
The Dirty Birds.
because they tried to go for 2 to win instead of just taking the extra point to tie it up.
Yeah. It would have been funny because we tied our second week too, so we could have had
it'd have been crazy if they had 2 ties. As soon as I saw that they tied Cleveland, I was like, they were 1 extra point away from a double tie. That'd have been sick.
Yeah. The funniest was Atlanta, who kicked a field goal with like no seconds left just to tie it. They're like, we want the tie. They didn't even go for a win.
They didn't go for the win. They just like, I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, we're gonna talk about some best ball, and we're gonna do a little bit of preseason talk. But we'll also be going over best ball and other drafts, just tips on how to draft in best ball and like normal drafts as well. Things that we use because we're getting into that time where you're gonna start drafting. We'll probably do another episode at some point of our players that we like, but yeah, this will be more just like general drafting tips. So, before we get into the episode, though, are you ready for your fun fact of the day, Scotty?
I have not heard a fun fact in like 3 months. I am so ready.
Well, this one may not be as well. It's going to be very fun for you, but you already do know it, and that is that the longest preseason win streak in NFL history is the Baltimore Ravens with 23 straight preseason games won. Yes, that's correct.
That's crazy. They've won every preseason game for like, what is it, 6 seasons? This would be the 7th season if they'd finish.
Actually, they haven't lost a preseason game since 2015. So
2015? Jeez. Yep. Oh, that's right. Oh, you know what? Didn't they used to do only? They used to do 4 preseason games, and now it's 3. So
yeah, now it's 3. So it's like changed a little, I think.
But that's still damn.
Yeah, and when they lost last, Zay Flowers, your current rookie, was a freshman in high school, and Lamar Jackson was a freshman in college.
What?
Yep.
Right. That funny stat comparison reminds me. Did you see when they put up the Aaron Rodgers career stats compared to who do they play? He just played some rookie, and they compared all their stats, and it was like.
Yes, I do remember that.
In the time span of like his NFL career, it's like the other guy's life, like from birth to being drafted, which is an unbelievable statistic.
I don't know if you've been watching Hard Knocks too, but like him and Zach Wilson are like talking a lot, and like Zach Wilson is like, I loved watching you while I was growing up, like, which I think is a really funny, like, kind of like a slight dig. I don't know, it's kind of funny.
It's a for sure, like, damn, you're old sort of. Yeah, for sure. But it is crazy. Can you just imagine, like, you grew up and your favorite player was when you first were getting into football, like Pee-wee leagues, 9, 10, 11 years old, and you're like, oh, I'm watching Aaron Rodgers play, and now 10 years later you get drafted and he's on your team.
And you're learning from him, and like it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Is he good enough to learn?
Hey, he's doing a lot better now in preseason. I will say
he's too busy focused on other people's moms.
Other people's moms, yeah.
He's like, it'd be funny if like he steals
Aaron
the
Rodgers,
job.
How's your mom doing?
It'd be funny if he like stole the job from him. Like Aaron Rodgers doesn't play well, and he's like, "Next, I'm coming for your mom."
That would be funny. Well, I guess the last note on the Baltimore Ravens, the last time they lost in the preseason game, Steve Smith Sr. was still on the team. He was on the team that year. So
he was on. I thought you were going to say he was still in Carolina. Which would have been an even crazier stat because he only played for a couple
retired.
Seasons.
I think he retired in 2016. So
okay, so that was like right at the
right near the end. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I guess any other comments on that?
Yeah, I was gonna say in the third quarter when the Eagles are playing their third stringers, the Ravens had out
a Pro Bowl quarterback. So it's weird to say because Tyler Huntley did make the Pro Bowl, whether he deserved it or not. He was an alternative. He did technically make the Pro Bowl.
He did technically make the Pro Bowl.
So it's weird that you're throwing out a Pro Bowler in the third quarter versus second and third string guys who likely aren't even going to make the 53-man roster just because you really want to keep that preseason winning streak alive.
Well, that is my funniest preseason moment so far is that the Bills' third string quarterback is Kyle Allen. So I thought for like probably 30 seconds to a minute that they were playing Josh Allen in the third quarter. And I was so confused. I was like, I have to look this up. Yeah. I'm like, I don't think that's his number. I don't think he's number 7 or whatever. Or I don't know what number Kyle Allen is, but
that could be.
I don't think he's that number.
What number is Josh Allen?
I think he's 9, but I could be wrong.
What number is Aaron Rodgers? 12?
No, not anymore. He's 8 now.
What?
8.
That's gonna be so weird.
Because Joe Namath was 12, I think, right?
Oh, and it's retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was number 8 at Cal, so I think he wanted to be 8.
Yeah, I guess he didn't just fully pick a random number. It's still something that matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird.
All right. Well, I guess we can get into the episode now. Just a little bit of a tangent.
Just like old times.
Yeah. So I guess it's now time for your
Mr. Unlimited
moment of the week.
Who did it this time?
We did it this time. I actually have a special because I have two moments. So we are going right into it. And the first is that the Commanders had their trademark application denied because they didn't get the trademark for the Commanders name to be sold before they chose the name. Someone else already got it. And this was before they sold the team. But it was so funny I had to mention it. But so they might change the name because if they can't work out a deal, they're gonna have to change the name because they can't own the Commanders as the name. So
well, and and for sure whoever owns that name is gonna charge an arm and a leg knowing that they're in a crazy position.
Yeah. I just hope it's an Eagles fan who will not sell to them for anything. Because that would be so funny. I think they should do Red Tails. That's still my favorite. But I don't know.
That sounds like a Sonic character.
Because it's the African American in the World War II the fighter pilots. It was they were called the Red Tails.
They were called the Red Tails. That's
a nice name. I think that would be a cool name.
Why do they feel the need that it's they went from the Redskins to the Commanders, which doesn't seem like much of a leap. You could just go to something brand. You could be the Washington Cyclones. You could just go a whole another. Yeah. You could just be anything. But
the whatever. Washington Rain.
Oh Jesus, that sounds like a team from a movie.
It does sound like a team from a movie.
A generic sports team where you didn't want anybody coming after you for using their likenesses in a movie without permission.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's
All
the
right.
first one. I thought that was pretty funny.
What is your second?
Mr. Unlimited.
It is that it's a moment from the Cardinals draft room that got released. And it's not actually for the Cardinals, though. It's for the Texans. Because when the Texans were trading up for the third overall pick to draft a defensive player, the Cardinals only asked for a 2024 first. And the Texans offered their first instead of Cleveland's first for no reason other than blind confidence in themselves that they'll outperform Cleveland. So I think this is hilarious because obviously the Texans are projected to be the second overall pick right now. And assuming Cleveland, who is projected in the 20th pick, actually does well, I think it will be hilarious that they traded their own pick for no reason. That
would actually be hilarious.
Yeah, especially if the Cardinals have the first and second picks in the draft next year, which is a possibility.
That could be. In fact, would that be a reason to intentionally tank just because that's on the table?
I would say
a chance if there's just tanking for the first pick is questionable in itself, but once you throw in there's a 30% chance that we also get another top 5 pick with it. Let's just YOLO this season, get it out of here.
Yeah, I think there's no chance they're going to do that because just because the players and the coach, Kyler Murray needs to prove himself essentially. So
I think he's
when he gets back, yeah. But when he gets back, he's going to try his heart out to win a couple games, and then their coach definitely will do the same. But yeah,
we'll see.
I'm curious. We'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, I guess before we get into the main topic, we can go over some quick news. And the first thing is that football is back. Football is back. We're watching the preseason already, and almost to the regular season. So exciting. Just 2 weeks away, essentially. 2 weeks away from draft. Yeah.
Kickoff is Chiefs versus... Who do they play?
I don't know.
September 7th, right?
Is it Chargers or something? I don't know. I could see that happening.
It could be. That'd be a fun... Kansas City at home versus your Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay. That's going to be a fun one.
Thursday, September 7th.
8:20 p.m.
Interesting. I like it.
I will agree that is interesting because I actually think that the Detroit Lions are going to be good. So I'm wondering, be curious how it will affect them to start off potentially 0-1 versus the defending champs and see what happens to them. Because, everybody keeps saying this is their breakout season. The defense has gotten better. The offense has gotten better. Everyone's blah, 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 blah. Good coach. And then you start off 0-1. That might be a little like a kink in the armor.
They did start 1-6 last year. So
and then they
turned it around. Went 8-1, right?
Yeah, they got the tight end, right? Once they got the tight end, they went on
when they got rid of Hawkinson, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. When they sent him away, then all this. But you know what? That was totally unrelated. Just complete coincidence, I believe, because he also still did well in Minnesota when he showed up there.
Yeah,
so.
We all saw those first 7 games, and they were losing games that they should have been winning. Literally, the Justin Tucker broke the record
66-yarder off the crossbar
for the win, and literally won the game. So
not only that, it was a 45-yard bomb to get to midfield to set it up, then a delay game that wasn't called that should have ended the game, and then the record breaking. It was 3 separate things that all had to go ins. If you wrote a movie and that scene played out, you'd be come on, that's too unbelievable. That can only happen in a movie, but no one.
Yeah, that's like a James Bond poker scene. Like
where everyone just
where
has
it's
the
like
next
pocket
best
aces,
hand
pocket
in
kings,
order.
like
Right,
quads, straight flush.
straight flush. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. I just watched that Casino Royale scene. It was like full house, quads, straight flush. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
And
Come
they
on
perfectly
now.
went in order around the table in progressive
Yeah,
strength
in
of
the
hand.
order
Come
of
on.
like the strength
Like,
of hand. Yeah.
Has it like no one who worked on that movie ever sat down at a poker table in their life? Like, it's
Clearly.
so unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, one of those guys should have been bluffing with like deuce 3, flipping the table over because they got called by 4 people. Like, come on.
Yeah. Pretty much. But yeah, I'm excited for that. That's going to be a good
I'm very
game.
excited.
Now, I did want to talk quickly about preseason takeaways. And I don't know if you have any, but mine quickly was just that the rookies look good and they seem more ready than usual. Like the running backs, the wide receivers, the quarterback backups, like DTR on the Browns looks really good. And I'm hoping that Deshaun Watson, like, look, I will never wish any ill will on any player unless they're Deshaun Watson. So I hope he gets hurt and DTR comes in, because DTR is, I don't know, he looks really good and I'd love to see him play. Also, Aiden O'Connell, gotta mention him because he literally has the same first name as me, spelled the same way. So yeah, gotta root for Aiden O'Connell on the Raiders. So yeah. Exciting.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really like Jimmy Garoppolo that much. So
hey, you're down
see
for that
how
one
that-
too, I'm sure.
I just never got on board, man. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like he was a product. I feel like he was a product of the system, and even then, he wasn't like really, really impressing people. So I think he's gonna get exposed a little bit. We're gonna see.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Awesome. Well, I guess we can head into our main segment, and that is the best ball draft. This is going to be an exciting one. So we made a draft at the end of May and beginning of July. It was a slow draft, so we had essentially like it's 20 rounds because it's on DraftKings. It's a best ball DraftKings lineup, and essentially we were picking once every week. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have the where we picked them, like what round, and then also like what number pick that is, because I'm comparing it to their ADP, like what number pick they're going at now, because I think it will be fun to see if we were ahead of the trends or behind on the trends. So yeah, going to be a fun one. I guess we'll get right into it. So
Let's do it.
For the first pick at the 111, we were drafting at the end.
Oh, for some reason, I had a memory that we were an early pick. We were 11.
Yeah, we were 11.
What? I mean, it was 3 months ago. I guess.
Yeah, you probably don't remember anyone on the team, to be honest, because you thought Calvin
we-
Ridley was on the team and he was not on the team. So
At 11, did we get Travis Kelce?
we got CeeDee Lamb. Travis Kelce is actually going like 6 overall, so I would have loved to get Travis Kelce. But yeah, we're getting CeeDee Lamb, and I won't
CeeDee
ask
Lamb.
you. Yeah, I won't ask you the. Actually, it was your pick, and I'm glad you told me to make the pick because CeeDee Lamb
You
is
don't like drafting Cowboys.
yes, but I think it was the right pick. He's going 11-6 right now, so it's essentially right where he's going, which is good. He didn't go down a lot. I would have drafted, I think, Devontae Adams. I probably would have drafted here, and I'm glad we didn't do that. And Devontae Adams did fall to us at the next pick, but we didn't draft him there either. And I'm glad we didn't either, because this next player I haven't gotten any of, and that is Garrett Wilson at the 202, pick 14. His current ADP is 16.5, but I just haven't been able to get him anywhere. Like every time I'm drafting on the turn, someone picks him up right before me. It's crazy because I've never seen a player that fluctuates more. I've seen him go in like at the 8th pick in the first round, and I've also seen him go in like the mid-second round. So it's been really weird. And for some reason, he is never there when I want him around this spot, like at the turn, but there will always be someone better on the board for me. Like there will be like some random player that fell really far and I'll be able to draft him. So I just never get Garrett Wilson somehow. But yeah, that's our second pick. So thoughts on CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson off the start?
I'm always going to be on the fence with the Jets players, but Aaron Rodgers has proven himself, I guess, to at least be consistent. He might not be putting up like superstar numbers anymore, but Garrett Wilson, up and comer, impressed last season. Now he impressed without a good quarterback, and depending on who you talk to. So now that he has one of the best to ever played, definitely in like the top 5 conversation at least, I would say that's a safe. Because how we're both talking about Jimmy Garoppolo passing on Devontae Adams seems to make sense because can't trust the receiver without trusting the guy who's throwing the ball. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that was your logic when I think it was something you just don't like Devontae Adams. I think so.
I think I know that he's really good, but just not. I think it would be more of I would classify it as more of a Jimmy Garoppolo trust issue.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And CeeDee Lamb, you just can't go wrong with CeeDee Lamb. Wide receiver 1 option on a team that just got rid of their running back. Tony Pollard still has to prove himself, so they could potentially be throwing more than we think. So why not throw that wide receiver 1 on your team?
Yeah, exactly.
We might find out that Tony Pollard thrived from only playing like 60% of snaps and getting that rest and sort of being like the underdog with something to prove. And now that he earned it, we don't know which version of him is going to show up. We still have to see that. So
yeah, definitely.
I like having wide receiver 1 on that kind of team.
Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson was the right pick here because he has more upside. I think. I think Adams is a safer floor. He's going to do solid every week.
Correct.
But he's not. I think Garrett Wilson has the potential to be like the number 1 overall receiver if Aaron Rodgers comes back to MVP form. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But if it does, we could win. I think it's $20,000 or something.
Do we have any concern that the running game is so strong that we don't need to see too much of Aaron Rodgers? You got like Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, now Dalvin Cook. I think that's a good point. I do think that's a possibility, but
what if that double-headed dragon just shows up and just destroys, and it's like, okay, well, we don't have to pass.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's always that risk, but I think at least in the best ball, you're kind of like you're always going to be betting on something. So I think it's good to take like the riskier bets, And we actually did that later on. We took some riskier bets, and it paid off. We took one. Well, one didn't pay off. One was not a good pick, but
we'll find out.
We'll find out soon. But yeah, that's good. So I guess those are the first 2 picks. So because we're at the end of the draft, essentially we had to wait a ton. So
correct.
Last pick was pick 14, and the next pick we have is pick 35, which is the 311.
Jesus.
So we needed a running back. We have 2 wide receivers, and the best running back on the board was Travis Etienne, which is pretty solid. His ADP now is 38.2, so he's fallen a little bit from when we drafted him, but
close enough.
And we needed a running back. I'm not too opposed. We could have possibly gone Calvin Ridley here. Because Calvin Ridley is now going at the end of the second, beginning of the third. Calvin Ridley is going before DK Metcalf, which I think is insane.
And he's in Jacksonville, so if it turns out that they end up being like a more pass heavy team, it could be like oh, we could have had that.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you get to round 4 without a running back?
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of need you want the upside of the running back, and I think it fit our team better. I do think the reason he's been falling a little bit is because Tank Dell, the rookie, has looked good so far. So people are worried he's going to take work away from Etienne, but I still think I think it's a good pick, a solid pick. We got what we needed. But yeah, that's that pick. Now, this is the best pick I think we made in the entire draft. Maybe the second best, because we did have a really good pick later on too. But at pick 38 with the 402, do you remember who we got? I'm guessing not, but
do I remember who we got in round 4?
Yeah, and I'm saying this is a great pick. Like we drafted this player, and we could have taken him in the 3rd round, and I mean he's going way before that now. So he's going
Tony Pollard.
No, Mark Andrews.
Ooh.
Mark Andrews.
Oh, I do remember that we got him. I do remember that
we got him at the 38, and now his ADP now is 27.9. We got him 10 pack. Like he was going at the end of the 3rd in like when we were drafting, but now he's going like beginning of the 3rd. So we got him really early, or really late, I guess. So yeah, great pick there. I mean, we could I think this team does have a chance to win it overall, and I think a couple of these picks we just got so much value on based on where they're going now. So yeah, any thoughts on that? Travis Etienne and Mark Andrews.
I like both because the Trevor Lawrence hype keeps going up and up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
So in order to win the division, which I think they can do this year, I think a healthy Derrick Henry and D-Hop isn't quite going to be enough. Mark Andrews, I'm still not sold because I'm hearing a lot of rumors coming out of the Ravens that Lamar Jackson has found his running ways again. But to be fair, when he was running, his sole target was Mark Andrews. That year they made that playoff run when he came in halfway through the season or whatever, and he broke it was the following year when we broke the rushing record, and he had some crazy amount of rushing yards. Basically, the only person who caught more than there was something like he had 70 or 80 catches, and no one else had more than 15 or something. So
yeah,
if they do find their running ways, that bodes well for Andrews, I suppose. Maybe not game to game, but overall.
Yeah, and their offensive coordinator is known for passing a lot more. So I think that's why people are rising a lot on Andrews right now, and just the Baltimore Ravens in general. You will see there's a lot of people are getting really high on the Ravens players right now, like the receivers and stuff too. So
that's really weird because any other season it'd have been oh, he's not really a passer, he's a running back, he's not really accurate, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I don't. All of a sudden they're jumping on the bandwagon because we got a new offensive coordinator. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited though. I really like Andrews. I mean, no matter what, I think especially in these tournaments, you want to find players that are going to rise in ADP because we're going to have Mark Andrews where no one else that drafted after us will be able to get him, So
right, we got the extra value.
Yeah, we're going to be the only people with CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Travis Etienne, and Mark Andrews. I don't think anyone else is going to be able to get that if after us. Maybe there's some people before us, but
right, you're right. It shouldn't be possible anymore given everybody's numbers are sort of trending up, so it makes it impossible to grab all 4. Yeah, you're right. It's a solid point.
Yeah. And then, so again, we have a huge break after pick 38, and our next pick is 59. So currently we have 2 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end. And I think our thought process was we need to get another receiver because in best ball you need to stack receivers, and on DraftKings you start 3 receivers, it's full PPR, and then you also have a flex spot. So you're essentially trying to start 4 receivers every week. So we went ahead and we got Chris Godwin with the 5'11", the 59th pick.
That's funny because that's how tall he is.
Is it really?
I know he's on the shorter side for receivers. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's his actual height.
That's really funny.
I'm gonna look it up.
I like this pick. I have a lot of Chris Godwin. I've noticed recently. Like, I think he's one of my most owned receivers. His current ADP is 62.6, but I just like him this year. I think people are like really down on the Buccaneers, and I think Mike Evans is like not doing as well. And I think Chris Godwin will be very solid, you know?
I have two words for you that I'm gonna totally quote unquote shit on our pick.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield.
I actually am not opposed to Baker Mayfield.
I don't know. I can't. He has to show it to me. I have to see something.
I saw it last year at the end of the year when he was fighting for a job with the Rams. I think he's going to be solid. I think he's going to be better than Brady was last year because Brady was so bad last year. And I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he's going to be elite or great, but I think he's going to be fine and good enough that I think Chris Godwin here is going to be good. I think he'll be a wide receiver 2, a solid wide receiver 2. And we're getting him as our third receiver in the 5th round. So I like it. I think we're not really relying on him, you know? We don't need him to do like a ton, but he's going to give us some good weeks.
It's like more like a pleasant surprise situation.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't pan out, it can be fine. 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Took a little risk, didn't lose too much to do it. Whatever.
Yeah, and his ADP is stayed about the same, so I'm not too worried about that. But then, so now, this is the worst pick of the entire draft, and this is the 602 with the 62nd overall pick.
Okay.
I pushed for this pick. We went with a QB to stack up. So, to preface this, the QB
to stack up
this with one of our
stack
players.
up with the receiver we already have.
Yeah,
it's not Trevor. It's not Trevor Lawrence.
So you wouldn't be
upset about that.
And also, he wouldn't have been available because in this draft, quarterbacks flew off the board. Like, I'm telling you, they went so quick. And at this time, this quarterback was going ahead of like Deshaun Watson.
Did we get Dak Prescott?
And we got Dak Prescott. And
I know you hate that.
And I picked this pick because I wanted to stack with CeeDee Lamb, and I was worried we weren't going to get another quarterback because we had to wait so long for our next pick.
Okay.
That's the only reason I'm not too mad about this pick is because
we actually had to do it.
We had to do it. We had to get a stack, and we actually were not able to get Aaron Rodgers later on when we tried to. So I'm kind of glad we did this because we got some stack with an elite receiver. Because I wanted to either go Dak Prescott or Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think we would have got either of them if we didn't pick Dak Prescott here. However, now that a couple months have gone by, Dak Prescott is now, his new ADP is 96.6.
Woof.
And we drafted him at the 62. So definitely
not fantastic.
Didn't work out in our favor. But but we actually, our next pick makes completely up for it. Like 100% up for it because it actually, so we had a huge break until our next pick. And our next pick was pick 83. So from 62 to 83, we had to wait a ton. So this 7-11, with our 7th pick, we needed a second running back. And we picked a player who skyrocketed up ADP. Their current ADP is 59.8, and we got them at 83. So if you had to guess who this was, a player who was a great pick, has risen so much in ADP, who would you be able to get? I guess just quickly name out a name, and I'll give you another hint after.
The first name that popped into my head, but I know we didn't draft him, is Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, that's okay. That's no Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh no,
is
I know,
going
I know
You know
who it
it?
is. I know
Okay.
who it is. Oh, why can't I remember his name?
Can you remember the team he's on?
Is it this? Is it? Oh no! It's a freaking Kenneth Gainwell.
No, it is not.
No?
Kenneth Gainwell, we actually did get value, but he went way later. This player rose in an ADP because another player was cut officially.
Is it
Another
Tony
player was
Pollard?
cut. No. But
Another
that is a
player
good
was
guess. That was a
Another
really good
player
guess.
was. So DeAndre Swift.
The person who was cut is now on the Jets.
The person. Oh, freaking Madison.
Yep, we got Alexander Madison at pick 83, who's now going 59.8.
Dang.
We got
That's huge.
crazy. That's huge. And that's our second running back. And we got him in the 7th round. So this is like the
That's
dream
solid.
scenario.
And you pushed for that one. I think I remember you
Yeah.
pushing for that one. So
I
I'll
think
give
I
you
pushed for
props
that
for you made up for the Dak Prescott, because I do remember you were the one who suggested him, and you were like, you know what, I have a feeling, whatever this, that, the other, let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think at
Fully
that
made
time
up for it. You're right.
there were rumors that he was going to be cut, but he wasn't like officially cut, I think. So I think that's why he was still hovering at that ADP. And he's just risen so much over the last couple months. So that was great,
like him,
great
so-
pick. Yeah.
I don't just like it because of the number on the screen that says, "Oh, you got good value." I assign that to like an actual belief that he's going to be solid for that team for sure.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I totally agree.
Okay. Okay. Rock and roll.
Yeah, and our next pick also has risen a bit in ADP, or I don't fully know. I think we just got him like past his ADP. I think he stayed about the same, but he like fell to us in the draft. Like we got good value,
Okay.
and that's at the 802 with pick 86. We got Jahan Dotson, the second year wide receiver, and he's our 4th receiver. So his current ADP is 79.9. So we got him like 6 picks past where he's currently going. And I love this pick. Like, I already like him as a player. Like, I think he has a huge upside with Eric Bieniemy now on the Commanders. And I don't know, I'm just really excited because I think a lot of people in the fantasy community hype him up as being like better than Terry McLaurin, even because
He's at least more consistent
yes,
than Terry McLaurin. McLaurin would have like a week where he'd get like 30 points, but then the next week he would have like 1 catch. I remember like the first 6 weeks of the season, he had something where he never caught a pass in the first half for like the first 6 weeks of the season. I remember like I wonder if he'll catch a pass in the first half this week finally, and it took forever.
Yeah, it did.
and he was on my team, so that was terrifying.
Yeah. It was I remember that too. It was like there was a couple weeks where it was like, oh gosh, Terry, what are you doing? Scary Terry.
Like, hello, yeah. It was scary, all right. It was scary looking at that 0 on my screen at halftime. Like, do something for me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good pick, solid pick. Like, I just
As
like
a
the
wide
player.
receiver 4? Huge.
Yeah. I still think he's being like undervalued, and I think he's a good pick in like current ADP, and we got him a little behind that. So I really like the pick, you know? But then we have a huge, so currently, I guess let's recap our team. So we have CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Chris Godwin, and Jahan Dotson at receiver. So 4 receivers. At running back, we have Travis Etienne and Alexander Madison. So 2 running backs. And then we have Mark Andrews and Dak Prescott. So 1 quarterback, 4 receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 tight end. So we definitely need some more running backs, but definitely some more receivers still. Essentially, the goal is to get like in a 20 player draft, you want to get like 9 to 10 receivers, probably maybe 8 if you have a lot of good ones, but you want to get a lot of receivers because in best ball, it's like picking the best player each week at the position. So you don't have to like automatically choose who you're picking. So you're essentially just you want to have like the variance of the receivers and get a lot of receivers because receivers spike and they'll do like good weeks, bad weeks. So you want to get that variance. So we definitely leaned wide receiver heavy. But thoughts so far on those first 8 picks?
I like it. You question the quarterback situation because at this point you look at the screen and you're like, you can't take a second quarterback at this point because you're leaving too much value on the board. Where like it's like you have to decide. I trust Dak to at least put up consistent numbers. And then now we go for the value and put a bunch of people on the team that have more upside. And then later, you pretty much decide that you'll grab a second QB with some sort of stack or some sort of potential, later on. So it's a consistent. I like it. 4 wide receivers is good. Best ball, like you said. Fantasy football is slowly, but not so slowly, drifting away from like the running backs rule the world. Especially in full PPR, wide receivers are taking over, man. Like you're talking about Kupp, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
I mean, all these guys are potentially going before your like McCaffreys and Ecklers, and I mean, wide receivers are taking over, 100%. So I like to have 4 receivers at this point, especially when it feels like we got solid value for all 4.
Definitely, and I think one good thing that we did is we're essentially betting on the Dallas Cowboys being good, at passing at least, like fantasy wise, because
I'll give them a 10-7 at best.
Yeah. And since we already picked CeeDee Lamb in the first, like by picking Dak Prescott, we're not risking that much because we're already risking the same thing, we're not risking anything else, like if we,
if the Cowboys suck, the Cowboys suck. If they're good, then they're good. Right. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
You're not introducing another variable into the mix. It still all depends on how good are the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
So, yeah, I like it. I think the draft really comes together soon. So
it gets better.
You could argue that one of our next picks is even better. I still think Madison might be the best pick, but there is another pick that gained more ADP spots. So our next 2 picks are both really good. So I guess I'll get right into it. And that after pick 86, we didn't have a pick until 107, which is the 9th, pick 9, 11. And we have 2 running backs, so we wanted a 3rd running back, and we got Khalil Herbert, who
I like
has risen a ton in ADP, not the most, but we picked him 107 and his current ADP is 92.4. So he's gone up
like almost the whole 2 rounds. Round and a half, yeah.
He rounded, yeah. And essentially the reason why is because he just has looked good in preseason and he's the clear starter right now. So we got him before that and we were just ahead of the game on that. And I think we got pretty lucky with that one, but I think it was just a great pick. I think that was one of your picks. I think we just went with it, and I think it was a good pick. It was a really solid pick. We kind of needed a running back for the team as the 3rd running back, and having him, we have 3 solid running backs now. Travis Etienne, Madison, and Herbert. Like they're all going to be playing. Like we have 3 starters, and we focused on receivers, and we still got 3 starters. That will have solid weeks. So
yeah,
I like
slight concern that Justin Fields picks up where he left off with his huge running games and kind of chips into our value a little bit. But at the end of the day, he was the 3rd running back we picked in the 10th round. If he only gives us, 6 or 7 good weeks, what did you expect from a 10th round pick? Right. Like you're not expecting like a crazy, So.
In our lineup, we're expecting to only play 2 running backs every week. So I'm totally good with like 6 or 7 weeks from him,
that seems fair. It's a fair assessment.
Yeah. Well, that was actually the last running back we drafted for a little while. So after 107, with the 110 pick, this might be the best pick in the entire draft. And
are you serious?
Yes. and we drafted Zay Flowers, Baltimore receiver. At 110 in the 10-02. He is now going at his ADP is 84.6. We got it.
Damn, two and a half round jump.
No, it's like actually, yeah, 2.5 rounds. Yeah, I did math wrong. Good math. Good. I'm glad I have you. But yeah,
26 picks.
26 picks. So yeah,
we had 12 teamer, right?
I guess, yeah,
2.35,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Some nonsense.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that was amazing pick. And on top of like him just being amazing value, he also we have Mark Andrews. So he like essentially it's the same thing we said before. Even though we're not stacking him with the quarterback, we don't have Lamar Jackson. We're doing the same bet where we're betting on the Ravens to be a good passing team. You know, they're going to throw more. That's what we're betting on. So we're doing the same bet, and we're also getting great value. So I mean, it's just an amazing pick. Like nothing else to say.
Do I have a memory that we also took Gus Edwards?
We did not. I think we ended up going somewhere else. I think we talked about it, but I think we got a different player who we have a lot of risers. There's only there's 2 bad picks left, but they're coming up, so we'll go over that.
But how bad can a pick really be this late in the draft?
It's not really that bad. Like, we were making gambles and they didn't fully pay off, but it's not like terrible, you know? So
I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's not bad. But I mean, the Zay Flowers is huge because that's our 5th receiver. So we don't need him to do great. We just need him to have if he has 5 good weeks, I think that could be a success, you know? I mean, obviously we're hoping for more, but
right. It's the same thing as who did we just say? Who was the previous one? Khalil Herbert. You don't need you're not going to be upset if every single week he doesn't get 10 to 15 points. Those are the kind of guys you can afford to. They could take a week off, and you're not like, oh, I made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think, especially with some of these old, I think some of these picks are amazing picks later. So we'll get into those. But so we have a huge break again. So 110 was Zay Flowers, and then our next pick was 131 at the 11-11. Which and we decided there was a tight end value on the board, so we decided to go tight end here. Yep, Dalton Schultz.
Is that right?
You were right.
And, I don't know why it just popped into my head when you said tight end.
And I mean, it's a solid pick. I think his ADP is around the same, 129.2. So not really a great value, but it fills out our tight end. We don't need to draft another tight end for the rest of the draft now because we have Mark Andrews. And for example, let's say Mark Andrews gets injured not injured, but he's out 1 week, week 15 or week 16, during the playoffs. And Dalton Schultz could have a solid game and help us sneak Mark Andrews into the next round, you know? So I think it's a solid pick. He's going to fill in Mark Andrews has had some injuries, so he'll fill in solidly if Mark Andrews gets injured, you know? So yeah, hopefully, obviously, we're betting on Mark Andrews not getting injured, but just in case he misses a couple games in the middle of the season, Dalton Schultz will fill out that tight end spot and help us get enough points to advance, you know? So
100%
that's the goal.
How hard, how tough is it for you to have 3 Cowboys on a team?
He's not a Cowboy. He is a Houston Texan, so I'm fine.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yes.
that changes my mind a little bit about the. But you know what? I did forget that. Thank you for.
I was gonna ask, is this one of the drafts where there's one of those big prizes up for grabs at the end, or is this one of those weekly you get a prize for first and then you get a?
It's just it's just at the end, and it's I think it's $20,000 at the end. So
So it's one of the ones where like top 2, then top 1 after.
yes.
One of those
Yes.
that's the format you like. So
Yeah.
okay,
Exactly.
So if you got top 2, there's no prize. Then you have to keep going.
Yeah, top two. Well, top two guarantees you money no matter what. So it guarantees you money, but you don't. You move on to the next round, and then if you're eliminated in the next round, you get money. But if you get top 1, I think you move on to the next round. So it's like it's going to be craziness, but it's going to be exciting. If I'm based on the amount of teams I've drafted 18 teams. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have at least a couple teams. Hopefully a couple. Because, there's some bad teams in the leagues too. So I would say my odds are like about 1 in 10. So my goal is to get at least 2. And I'm hoping even more because I'm hoping if I can get like 4 or 5, that would be really good, but absolutely. 2 is the goal at least.
I'll be rooting for you. It's an exciting opportunity with all those promos and stuff, and now all of a sudden you have a crazy amount of teams, and you didn't have to empty out your balance. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I only spent $20, and I have $100 worth of value, so pretty good.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, Dalton Schultz. I also think one of the things we're thinking is like CJ Stroud's a rookie. He's probably going to be throwing to his tight end a lot more. Because the rookies like to lean on tight ends a lot. So I think a solid pick. I think it fills out tight end for us. Yeah. And then our next
I have
pick,
heard rumblings that Stroud is looking pretty bad.
We'll get into that in a little bit. But with the next pick, 134 at the 12:02, we decided to go with DJ Chark on the Panthers. And not a great pick because his ADP has fallen a lot. He's going at 153.9. That's his current ADP. And we got him 134. So he has fallen a bit. But, these are the kind of bets you take. Like, who knows? Maybe he was doing better in training camp and his ADP is higher now. So, you kind of just gamble on these guys. He's our, is it 6th receiver? So doesn't really matter, he'll hopefully have like 1 or 2 good weeks, but you never really know.
You know what? That's why it's fun because no matter what the numbers on the screen say and what the draft picks and all this, that, the other say, they still have to go out there and play. So
yep, exactly.
You could always be surprised.
Yeah, and I think there's value.
I lean on optimism.
Yeah. There's not really a good receiver in that Carolina room. So there's a chance he could end up being like the wide receiver 1 there too. And I don't think that's a good receiver, but he could be a receiver, He could give us some valuable weeks. Now we didn't pick for a while.
Option.
What?
Nothing. I was saying when you're the only option on a team, you're bound to get at least a handful of above average weeks, unless they completely, totally suck and they're like the last place team. We should at least get like 2 or 3 weeks out of him where he makes the team.
Yeah, and I don't have any faith in Adam Thielen, so I'm kind of. I think he has some chances there. But yeah, that was 134, and we didn't pick again until 155. And this is probably the worst pick ADP wise, but at this point it doesn't really matter because it's the 13th round, 13-11. All these players you're just hoping for usable weeks here and there. But we decided to go with QB. And as previously mentioned, we went CJ Stroud because we had Dalton Schultz. So.
but back then, like the hype was so real. But people who watched like the training camps and the practices and his preseason, they're just saying that like college defenses made him look better than he is, and he looks like amongst like grown men athletes.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready. He's gonna have the starting role probably the whole year, so that's a good thing for us because he might get some good weeks in. But we drafted him at 155, and if I said he's probably the worst pick or possibly, what do you think his ADP is currently at?
undrafted?
He is going, actually, no, so not that bad, thankfully. But he is going 191.5. So 36 picks past where we got him. So definitely, we could have got him like if we drafted now, but obviously, like with all the other values we got, I'm not too bummed about this, you know? I'm not bummed really. Quarterbacks were going faster in this draft too, so I don't think it's really that bad. Like, and we did draft another quarterback later on as well. So I'm not really. Yeah, we did. We drafted a third QB, and I'm glad we did because it will like provide another option to get spike weeks. So yeah, I'm fine with Stroud. I'm not enthusiastic about how he's performing because he has looked bad in preseason, but. I think he's still he might develop into solid a couple weeks here and there. So yeah, that was our 13th pick. And then a couple picks later with the 1402, we actually got a pretty good value because at pick 158, we got Ezekiel Elliott, who is now going
signed by the Patriots.
He did. And he's now going pick 144.8. So
not much better, but
not much better, but yeah, definitely. I would say still better though. Like, I mean, and I think with our team, he's our fourth running back. We're gonna need a couple of weeks from him, like, and I think that's something he can do, you know. So I think he's a good pick there. I think he'll have like a couple weeks where he'll get some touchdowns. I mean, I don't think he's gonna be like the goal line back solely, but I think there will be a couple weeks where he gets like 2 touchdowns, you know? So I'm definitely fine. I think this pick is good even. Like I think I think ADP wise it's fine, but it's like a little good, but I think for our specific team, it's a really good pick, you know? Like that's why I think it fits.
Do you think he's
a number 2 option, right, behind Stevenson?
He doesn't take that job. He's old. He's too old.
No, definitely. I mean, Stevenson looks really good. Stevenson's going in like the third round, the second to third round. So people love Stevenson.
He's like a third down goal line guy.
Yeah, so
he's gonna vulture touchdowns for sure.
Yeah, I think he'll just be annoying for Ramondre Stevenson's owners, and I think he's a decent option in best ball. Like. I think he'll have some spike weeks, and I think that's good. That's what we want, you know? So I think it's solid. Now, after pick 158, we didn't have a pick again until 179, and that's the 15-11. And this is where we got our third QB. And I don't know if you remember that we drafted this QB, but we drafted Sam Howell, the Commanders' starting quarterback, who was announced the starting quarterback. And his current ADP is 173.6. So he's going a little bit higher than where we got him. He's
like pretty much right on the mark.
Yes, pretty much right on the mark. But we stacked him up with Jahan Dotson. So correct. I like the pick. I think we're making the same bet again, which is good. So yeah, I like the pick. I guess we'll kind of just speed through.
I'm sure it gets pretty
because here at the end, it's pretty much going to be the same analysis for each person. You know, hope they get like 1 or 2 good weeks. Somebody gets hurt, they step into a role, rinse, repeat. So.
Yeah, I mean, this next pick actually will be the last pick I kind of talk about a little bit because at pick 182 in the 1602, we got Kenneth Gainwell, who is currently going ADP 150, so he's risen a lot. It's like 30 picks. So he's risen a lot, and the reason why is because there are rumors that he's the second running back in Philadelphia above Rashad Penny. So those are the rumors right
surprising.
Now.
And he's good.
He's good, and it's a full PPR. So this is like perfect for the format, perfect for what we need. I mean, I just think it's a really good pick, and we got pretty lucky with the fact that he's doing really good in training camp and likely to have a lot of work even early on in the season and just kind of a lot of catches, hopefully. That's the goal. So
and the other good thing is I mean, it's not good because you're an Eagles fan, but at the end of the day,
Swift and Penny are exactly well known for staying healthy. So
Yeah.
strong opportunity that he ends up just being like a solo guy by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I mean, I don't think he'll ever be like the workhorse back. I think of him more as like a JD McKissick or something, Like he'll just have spike weeks randomly where he catches a bunch, which is perfect for best ball. But
like Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, Jerick McKinnon. Essentially, like Jerick McKinnon. But yeah, I love the pick. I guess these last 4 picks I'll just kind of fly through because there's only 4 more. So we didn't pick again until the 203, which is the 17-11. And we got Leonard Fournette, who still doesn't have a team. So we're waiting out hoping he goes to Miami or something. His current ADP is 216.1, so he's fallen a little, but we're just betting. I mean, it's a bet. We bet on Ezekiel Elliott before he was on a team. Now we're betting. We bet on Leonard Fournette, and hope he'll find a team. We think he will. But yeah, that was our next pick. 206 with the 1802. We got Khalil Shakir on the Buffalo Bills, which I mean we're just betting, just ADP game. He's now going 208.7, so same pick. Pretty good. Yeah, nothing crazy.
227.
Yeah, then 227, and we got Corey Davis, who's I think is a solid pick. We're essentially betting.
I love Corey Davis.
I do, and we're betting on the same offense as Garrett Wilson. So if maybe Aaron Rodgers is back to form, then Corey Davis also does well. So same bet.
Yeah, but there's he has his favorites, like he brought in.
Yeah, he has his favorites,
and a couple other guys. So
I think it's kind of risky, but
well, the distribution is
yeah, it's the 19th round. We're just hoping for upside.
Throwing darts at a map.
Yeah,
just praying.
And then exactly. And then the last pick in the 230, pick 230 in the 2002, we got Cedric Tillman on the Browns. He's currently going 226.6. So yeah, same spot. No, he's not a riser, faller, just around the same spot. So yeah, that's our team.
Relevant.
Yeah. I think that's how many, is that 10 receivers I think we drafted? But yeah, I think that's pretty standard, maybe 9. But we drafted 6 running backs, 3 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. So I'll just go over the team real quick. At quarterback, we have Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, and Sam Howell. I think it's kind of solid. We'll just be solid there. And we're not having any elite quarterbacks because Dak has fallen a lot. But
we'll just have consistency.
We'll have consistency. Yeah, consistency is key.
I'm sure each week one of those 3 is bound to put up numbers we're content with.
Yeah, that's the goal, Then at running back, we have Travis Etienne, Alexander Mattison, Khalil Herbert, Ezekiel Elliott, Kenneth Gainwell, and Leonard Fournette. So, I mean, we're taking gambles. We didn't get a ton of running backs that are like super safe, but I think we took gambles and I think they paid off. So I think we're really solid at running back.
We got 3 starters, which is probably pretty hard to do in 12 teams. So
yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm excited. I think we'll have spike weeks from all 3 of our main running backs, and that's what you want. So I like that. At receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Chris Godwin, Jahan Dotson, Zay Flowers, DJ Chark, and then Khalil Shakir, Corey Davis, and Cedric Tillman. So it looks like we did only take 9 receivers.
That's 9 should be fine, right?
Yeah, 9's fine. 9 or 10 is usually what I'm looking at, and sometimes I'll go 8. So yeah, I think 9 is great. And we started wide receiver heavy as well. So we're essentially just, I mean, if our players do well, I think we definitely have a chance with this lineup, And then at tight end, we have Mark Andrews and Dalton Schultz. So I really like the team. I don't know about you, but I really like it.
I am excited. That was the first team I did for this season, so
Yeah.
I've been writing it down as we're going through it, so I don't have to like text you every week like how's our team doing? Like, I don't remember who we had. Can you screenshot and like you don't like I'm busy working. I don't want to.
I'm definitely going to be having to text you periodically, like how our team's doing. And I'm like, because I'm in 18 drafts, and it's like I'm not going to keep track of all of them. Like I'll look at like where I'm doing in them, but that one I'll specifically like make sure to look at and be like, oh yeah, our team is doing really good, or our team is like fourth and we need to get to second. So I'll definitely keep you updated, but yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, that's our team. I guess we can get into some drafting tips now if you're down.
Let's do it.
All right. So
I feel like we just gave a bunch of tips as we just went through our picks, we also went through like thought process at the time, which is just as valuable as a tip.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think we did kind of go over our thoughts already, but
thought processes and tips and like secrets aren't the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. I mean, some of these are going to be redundant to what I said before. Like the first drafting tip I had was make sure to stack players, because this increases your upside and it puts your risk on one offense. So like if the offense does well, you have multiple players that are doing good, so you're making the same bet essentially.
I do like that thought process where the least amount of teams that you need to do well for your specific player pool to do well, the better.
Yeah. I mean,
you obviously, you don't want 20 people on 20 different teams, and then you just know for sure that like half of them are going to lay eggs, and you kind of put yourself in a tricky situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a really interesting team that I drafted recently, where essentially I took it to the extreme almost, and I don't know if I went too far, but essentially my thought process was, let me just stack everyone. And I mean, I started off Diggs, Wilson, Allen. I got Allen in the third, and then I got Breece Hall in the fourth, which now he's going lower, but essentially I'm like two offenses right off the bat. I'm stacking, and then essentially like I kept stacking all the way throughout the draft, and I think I only had players on 10 teams, so it was like it was pretty crazy. But that's the thought process, is you want to take less risks because it's so risky already that you want to like mitigate it almost. Now the next one is in best ball tournaments. Specifically, you don't want to reach. So in your normal redraft leagues, you can kind of reach on your favorite players a little bit, but in best ball, you don't want to reach, because if you reach on a player, like if you draft them a whole round early, there's going to be other teams that got that same player later in the draft, and they'll essentially have like an extra better player, like if you draft AJ Brown, if you draft Stephon Diggs and then Josh Allen in the second round, there's players like me who drafted Josh Allen in the third round. So then I'm going to have an extra Garrett Wilson while you're going to have like,
right,
I don't know, Deebo Samuel or something, So
correct.
It's just going to be like, you're going to be behind once you get to like the further rounds in the tournament, if you get to those further rounds. So, and the goal ultimately is to win the championship. So like that's the goal, but obviously like, yeah, I mean, it's always, you're always risking like not getting a player you want, but you're not going to win a best ball tournament if you're reaching on players. So just something to keep in mind.
Does it count as a tip to name some players that you'll fade, that you don't want on your team?
Sure, go ahead. We can do that.
because you just listed one. You said Deebo Samuel, and he's fast and he's flashy, and they're a good team. But I think he finished like wide receiver 20.
Yeah.
People are taking him in rounds 1 and 2, and he finished outside of the top 20 in wide receivers last season. At what point do you?
Now people are taking him at around 3 or 4, like at that turn. So, would you rather have Deebo Samuel or Travis Etienne? I guess that's a good question. And I'd probably take.
And you can't answer it.
Yeah,
it has to depend on what your team looks like up to that point. Right?
That's a good point.
Solid answer.
Maybe Deebo Samuel or Christian Watson. That's a
fair comparison. Well, yeah, then obviously you take Deebo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair way to
maybe Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's going in that range. Keenan Allen or Deebo.
I suppose the tip would be to not overestimate. Like if you see like Deebo Samuel's ADP is like 35, and then you somehow convince yourself, but it's Deebo. Like he's way better than that. Like come on, it's Deebo. And then like you kind of like reach for him a little bit because you're worried he won't be there. But at the end of the day, you're reaching for a name when the stats don't back it up. So just make sure you do your research. Just because a player has been flashy in the past, they're not. Looks can be deceiving because he did look good, and you hear the name, but then you go back and look at it, and he finished in the top 10 of wide receivers only like maybe twice all of last season. Like he didn't win anybody. He probably, based on where he was getting drafted last season, he probably cost people championships. Because he just took up a draft spot that they could have got somebody else at that spot.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the main thing I think is to just kind of do your research and like don't reach, even if you like a player too, don't reach on them because a lot of the times we're wrong. A lot of the times we're wrong. Like people like Deebo and they're wrong, and people like I like Chris Godwin, and I'm not reaching for him because I could be wrong. I don't want to risk him being my wide receiver 2 if I'm going to have him as my wide receiver 3 or 4. So, that's kind of my. I guess both of our thought process. Another tip,
what?
Yeah.
Ooh, you go.
Okay. Another tip is tier-based drafting is king. So. If you don't know what tier-based drafting is, essentially you're putting the players based on their position and you're putting them in tiers. So like, for example, tier 1 of the running backs would be like Christian McCaffrey, and then it could be him by himself if you think he's like better than all their running backs. Or you could have Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, Nick Chubb. So like that's a tier. So essentially like the reason you do tier-based drafting is let's say we were at the 11th pick and we have on the board, there's, let's say, Bijan Robinson and Nick Chubb, both there. And we are thinking, okay, well, the next person is not going to draft 2 running backs in the first round. And maybe this isn't the best example, but let's say they're not going to draft 2 running backs. We know they're not going to draft 2 running backs. So we know one of those running backs that we like that's in the same tier is going to make it back to us. So instead we draft a different position because we only want one running back.
So you don't have
to pick between the 2.
Yes, exactly. So, and on top of that, if we think they're in the same tier or like around the same rank, then we can kind of let it pass. So essentially it helps you feel the board more too. Like if quarterbacks are going off your board really quickly and you're going to need to draft, like instead of drafting like based on ADP, you're going to miss out on those quarterbacks because you're not going to see them. But if we're drafting based on tiers, we're like, okay, Dak Prescott is the last quarterback in this tier. Let's draft him a little earlier because we're not going to get him. And then we're not going to get a good quarterback. I think we drafted him early in our draft, but in general, that's the thought process behind it. So I just like drafting based on tiers because it's like it kind of helps you figure out the draft better and like strategize during the draft.
Okay. And are you creating your own tier list based on who, like, your own research, or are you looking? Is there somewhere you're going and you're trusting someone else's tier list? How are you compiling your list?
I'm taking. There is a general tier list, which is the on Fantasy Pros. They have a general tier list that I go off of, and then I adjust it based on my thoughts. My personal thoughts. I'll move people up like maybe a tier, like maybe to the bottom of the previous tier, or move them down to the top of the next tier. So it's kind of like I'm adjusting it based on my rankings or my thoughts, but I'm doing the general tier list from the experts because I think the average rankings of the experts are probably the most accurate of, like, I've found it helps me be more accurate in my drafts essentially.
Yeah. I like it. And then I guess another big tip is to avoid the we talked about this, I think, pre-recording.
Yeah.
To avoid your home team bias.
Yes.
Don't just start drafting players blindly just because they play for your favorite team. If you truly care to win, that is a no-go strategy. You got to come in from an unbiased opinion. You got to be willing to draft players from teams you don't like, rivalry team. If you're a Ravens fan, you got to be willing to draft a couple Steelers players. It just happens that way sometimes.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that too is, like, at least when I draft too many Eagles on my teams, if the Eagles lose a game or don't do well, I feel so much worse because not only did they lose,
twice.
But my team probably also lost. So something I like to do is sometimes draft players on your rivals' teams intentionally, so it kind of hedges your emotions. Like if I'm drafting Cowboys players, it's kind of helping me, like, okay, if the Cowboys are doing good, then my team is doing good. Like we drafted Cowboys. We drafted 2 Cowboys. And I'm fine with that. I don't mind it too much. Like obviously I'm not going to be rooting for the Cowboys at the end of the day, but I'm hoping the fantasy players do well and they lose. And if they happen to win and the fantasy players do well, then okay, that's fine. But it's kind of like hedging my emotions.
And then whenever they're playing the Eagles, you hope that your fantasy players do bad and they lose.
Yes.
Just for that 1 week.
Yes.
Or 2 weeks, I guess. 2 weeks, technically.
Essentially, yeah. But yeah, any other tips before we move on?
I would say that it would be hypocritical of me to give too many tips because last year I slept through my first pick of the draft and still won. So
it actually helped you because you were going to go Cooper Kupp and you drafted Christian McCaffrey instead. So.
And Kupp got hurt. Yeah. So and McCaffrey getting traded, whatever, halfway through the season, let's just say, was my championship winning moment, I would say, because he really picked up the pace switching teams for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I feel like a bit of a fool when I did no research, slept through my first pick, and then somehow was able to come through with a victory.
To be fair, I do think that the first picks generally do not matter. It is more like how you build your team, Like it's
fair.
After the first couple rounds, how are you managing the draft board? Who are you selecting? Like, how are you building the team? But yeah, I think that's a good point, is sleep through your first pick and auto pick and you'll win a championship. So,
with multiple people trying to call you and wake you up.
Yes.
You know what the worst part about all that was?
What
is
Oh, you tried to make the pick and it didn't work, right?
I think on my screen, I woke up in time with the thing still clicking. I selected the player, hit draft, and then nothing was happening, and I refreshed, and it was like 4 picks later, and I had McCaffrey, and I'm like, oh, God. This is awful.
Sounds about right.
Turns out that was a blessing in disguise. Accidents win championships, folks.
Yep, pretty much. Well, I guess now it is time for Ask Anissa. where I ask my wife Anissa a fantasy football question and she knows nothing about football. So, Anissa, which team will win the NFC North? The Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, or the Green Bay Packers?
The Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings, all right, solid pick.
Yeah. Go with those.
Now we have a surprise, super special, ultimate extreme bonus segment. Where Scotty.
Fantasy football Squid Game.
Where Scotty guesses whether I think a team will go over or under their win total line. So I found the win.
I'm predicting 100% accuracy.
Okay. So you just have to predict what I would do. So it's not based on what you think. So it's what I would do.
Correct. I'm in your mind.
You're in
your
my mind.
Teams, your favorite players. Yeah. All right, we're here.
So the line for the Bills was 10.5 games. Do you think I went over or under? You think I went over?
Over. I think you went over. Even though I know you like the Jets.
Incorrect on the first one. I went under.
What? I know you like the Jets. I didn't think you liked them that much.
I personally think the Bills do not look great, and I think their offense was kind of getting figured out near the end of the year last year. So I think they're going to go under 10.5 games. I think they'll get 9 or 10 wins. That's my prediction.
Do you still think they win the division? Do you think 9 or 10 wins is enough to win the division?
I think it's going to be close, but I think they do win the division, to be honest. I don't think the Packers...
Okay.
I don't think they start off hot.
You mean the Jets?
The Jets. Sorry, not the Packers. But
also, the Dolphins are still in the mix.
They are, yeah. And the Patriots, technically, are still in the division. I do think the Patriots will do better, but I don't think they'll do
4 years. It was like 4 years ago. Like every year, like Patriots were like automatic. Like you don't even discuss it. Like Patriots just win the division. Now that's the team that we just brush over and don't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could pull off some upsets. So I think they could upset the Bills or something, but I don't know. I don't think they're great.
maybe they make a huge upset week 1.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I'm shockingly choosing the under on the Bills. So
how close was that for you?
I think they're 9 or 10 wins, so I think it was pretty close. Okay. But I did want to go under on the Bills. Like it wasn't like a hesitation for me. I was like,
okay,
yeah, awesome. Well, the next team is the Bears at 7.5 wins. Do you think they go over or under?
I think you, based on everything that we just talked about, and you said you left out the Bears when discussing with her. I mean, I guess you went under based on those clues.
You are correct. I did give you a couple hints.
Gave me a little bit too much information there, pal.
Yeah. There's a couple things though that you'll based on how I've talked about teams, you'll probably be able to tell. Next team is the Packers at 7.5 wins. Yes, the Packers and the Bears have the same wins. I don't know why that's the case. But what do you think? Do you think the Packers will go over or under?
Again, I think you gave me a little bit too much evidence here. I'm going to say you predicted over.
I did. I predicted over. Personally,
proof that I'm paying attention to all the things you said this call.
Personally, I would parlay the Bears under and the Packers over because I think both of those are like 80% locks. But I might be biased. So, yeah, I think the Packers and Bears should not be on the same win total, but whatever, I know people are down on the Packers, so I get it. Next one though, I don't think will be super easy because I don't think I've talked about this team that much, and that's the Steelers.
Seattle. Ooh.
Steelers 8.5 wins. Do you think over or under?
We shit on Pickett a lot last year, but we also praised Pickens. Najee Harris has kind of trended down a little bit. I'm going to say you predicted 7.5 or 8.5?
8.5.
Under.
I went over. This
What?
is a clear lock because Mike Tomlin always goes above 500.
Oh, I forgot about that. You rat. You rat.
But-
I forgot
but-
about the over/under. He never had a losing season. You
I know
rat.
I know the division is incredibly hard, but I actually think the Steelers. I know it's preseason, but dude, the Steelers
finds a way.
they look incredible. They shut out. I don't even remember who it was that they played. They shut them out though. They
Was
look
it
like
Carolina?
I don't even remember. I'm gonna look it up right now because I think they look amazing. But yeah, I don't know.
Steelers beat the Buccaneers by 10, and then they beat the Bills by 12. It doesn't say they shut out anybody.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but let me check it out. I am wrong. They were shutting out the Bills until the end of the game. It was 27-0 until the fourth quarter. So, and dude, I'm telling you, the Steelers looked really good, and
Okay.
I think they're going to surprise people. I think they could be like, I think they could make the playoffs, which would be a shock. But
Yeah, it would be. That's a fair assessment. If they get a wild card spot, that would be surprising.
I mean, I would personally put like a small bet on them to win the division because the odds are probably like 15-1 or something crazy, you know?
Probably not that high.
You don't think so?
You know what? Because the division is so stacked, you could be right. You know what?
I don't know. I'll look up into it afterwards, but yeah, I'm definitely betting the over on the Steelers. And I might be biased, but I do think Jalen Warren also looks really good for running backs. But yeah, the next team is the Chargers at 9.5 wins. What do you think I picked for the Chargers?
9.5. I think you. By the way, they're 5-1.
5-1? What? The Steelers are 5-1 to win the division?
Yeah, plus 500, right? So that's 5-1.
What?
Of course, I guess technically 6-1.
That's really weird. Whatever. I thought it would be like 10-1 at least.
The LA Chargers 9.5 with the Chiefs, and you previously talked about the Raiders. I'm gonna say you predicted over. No, under.
Is that your final answer?
Fudge. That means one of my guesses was right.
You said over and then under.
I know what I said. I was. Okay, that's fine. But I'm gonna say that I'm trying to think. How would you weigh in on the Eckler drama? Under. I'm gonna say you think of it as a negative, and you went under.
You are correct. That is correct. I went under. I think the Chargers always disappoint, and I don't think their coach is good. I do think they'll be good for fantasy. I think their offense will be great because what is it? Kelly, is that the coach who used to be the Cowboys OC, who's now the OC for them? But
Couldn't tell you.
yeah, he's really good. He's I'm expecting the offense to do great for fantasy. But yeah, I don't think they'll do good for
You
football.
don't necessarily think they're winning games.
Yeah, and it's a really tough division too. I mean,
100%.
if the Broncos especially do better.
Which
But yeah.
all right, that's my dark horse, man. I think they can make the playoffs. I don't know why. I've been reading a lot and watching some highlights, and everyone says they just look like a fully different team. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's the goal. But yeah, so now you are 3-2. So if you get one more right, you win the challenge. You know me.
Ooh, how many are there total?
There's 7. So you are
Oh,
3-2. So you need to get one out of 2
lock
more.
it up.
You can lock it up.
Lock it up
And
right
the
now.
first is the Buccaneers at 6.5 wins.
Oh man, I already know the end. Go to the next one. I want some drama. I know this
Okay.
one.
I think you'll know this one too. This is
shoot.
the Titans at 7.5 wins.
Okay. Over.
Over. You are correct on both. You know me well. You went 5-2.
Woo! And one of them you tricked the hell out of me with that Steelers Mike Tomlin 500 stat.
Yep.
if I would have remembered that, that's all I would have had to think about. I wouldn't have had to.
Yeah, you would have gone 6-1.
Dang! And I got the Bills wrong too. I thought you liked the Bills, but I forgot that you're really high on the Jets right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm also just down on the Bills right now, and I was gonna bet the Bills. Yeah, like I was gonna pick the Bills to win the division, but I don't even know if I'm gonna do that anymore. So we'll see.
We shall see. You have time.
I do have time, yeah. But yeah, that's the segment, the super surprise, super special, ultimate extreme bonus segment. So thanks for playing.
Did you have to write that down to remember?
Yeah, the surprise, super special, ultimate extreme bonus segment. There we go.
I was gonna say you got it written down in front of you for sure. Like you're reading off your phone or an index card or something.
Yep, pretty much. But yeah, that's that. And do you have, before I go into the strong opinion of the day, do you have a surprise segment for me, Scotty?
I do.
Ooh, okay.
I saw a TikTok where somebody plays 10 games, and each game they win, they get a clue, and at the end of all the clues is a single player, current or retired, in the NFL.
Okay.
And you have to complete a challenge, and you will decide if you want to play higher or lower with a deck of cards, where I pull a card and you tell me if the next card will be higher or lower, and if you're correct, you get the clue. Or you take the more 50-50 route, and you just pick heads or tails on the flip of a coin. Would you like the coin flip or higher or lower with a shuffled fair deck of cards?
You know what? This is a running joke for me, is that I'm terrible at coin flips. I don't know if you know this. There's some lore here. I have previously bet like 3 times on coin flips in the Super Bowl and lost all 3 times. Then on the What's Your Rushmore podcast, that we did a game of things not to bet on, and one of my picks was a coin toss, and I got 4 coin tosses wrong in a row, and we just cut it there because it was too funny.
I mean, that's proof that you shouldn't bet on it.
That I shouldn't bet on it, but I think it will be funny to have me try to do some coin toss guesses. So we're gonna do the coin toss. Let's do it.
All right. So you can't see it,
Yeah.
but I have a coin with a Maryland flag on one side and a tree on the other. So you're just gonna call out. You're just gonna call out not heads or tails. We're gonna keep it simple, and I'm not gonna try to remember which was which. Just call out flag or tree. There's 10 clues. Wait, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 clues. I believe you need around the 6th clue mark to even have a chance.
Okay.
So I'm surprised you took the coin flip route. All right, let's get your first. I'm gonna flip it first to save time.
Okay.
All right. Flag or tree?
I'm gonna go with flag. That was my first instinct.
Tree. Can you keep track for me? That was 1.
That was 1. Okay.
That was 1.
I'll keep track.
All right. It was flipped.
All right. I'm gonna go with tree.
Flag. I swear I won't cheat you. I swear.
Okay. Right. If I get all 10, there's no way I get all 10 wrong. That is like,
I told you should have gone
1 in a million.
Right, if you only get like 1, we're just gonna cut it and do higher.
No, it'll be so funny. This will be so funny. I'll try to guess it based on 1 guess.
All right. The coin was flipped.
All right. Flag.
Tree. I swear. All right. Coin has been flipped.
Okay. Flag.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
All right. That was 4 flips.
That's 4 flips.
You have your first clue. It was they were on offense.
Okay.
They're an offensive player.
That would have been really funny if this is the only clue I get.
All right. Coin has been flipped.
Flag.
They played in the NFC.
Oh, okay. Offensive NFC player. Got it.
Coin has been flipped.
It's got to be tree.
4 flags in a row, bro. I swear.
Damn it. Okay.
All right, this is number 6, I believe.
Yeah. No, this is 7.
All right. This is number 7. Oh shit,
Yeah.
You're in trouble. All right, coin has been flipped.
Okay. I'm going to go with tree.
They were a running back.
Okay, running back in the NFC. I like how the first hint did not matter at all anymore.
What? All right. If you only got those 2, you wouldn't have known if you were
That
guessing
is true.
Center,
That is true.
Quarterback, wide Okay.
That is
All
true.
right, coin
That
has
is
been flipped.
All right, coin has been flipped. This is 8th. I'm going to go with tree. It's got to be tree.
Coin has been flipped.
All right. Tree. I'm feeling a tree.
Coin has been flipped.
Oh my god. I'm only gonna have 3 hints. All right.
Yeah, this is your last one, right?
Yeah, this is my last one. This 10th. All right. I'm gonna go flag.
And just for fun, because there's no way you get it based off of this, I was expecting you to get at least 50%. They are retired.
They are retired. Okay.
a retired running back that played as
NFC.
He was in the offense in the NFC.
Okay. You know what? Because I'm an Eagles fan, I'm gonna go with LaShawn McCoy.
All right, we are going to switch to the deck of cards and play higher or lower. All right, we're gonna give you 5 attempts at higher or lower, so you no longer can get all 10. We're gonna start with only 5, and you're gonna stay at your same, so you can potentially get up to the 9th clue.
Okay.
All right, let me mix them up. It was not LaShawn McCoy. All right, the first card. Well, first I'll let you decide: cut or no cut. I shuffled. Do you want me to cut or not?
No cut.
All right. First card, Queen.
All right, I'll go lower.
All right. The next card was a 6, and your next clue is they played in the NFC South.
NFC South.
A retired
Okay.
running back from the NFC South.
Okay.
Higher or lower than a 6?
I'll go higher.
The card was a Jack.
Ooh, okay.
They were a first round pick in 2012, and they're retired already. So you have a win. NFC South retired, and they were in the league for less than guess now because they could have retired this year. So we're looking at a maximum of 11 years.
Okay.
All right, higher or lower than a Jack?
Lower.
All right. They played for the Buccaneers.
Ooh, okay. Buccaneers. Okay.
Higher or lower than a 9?
I will go lower.
Their number was 22.
22. Buccaneers. Oh. Wait. No, that might... I don't know if that adds up. All right. What was lower than a 9? What number?
It was a 3.
3? I'll go higher.
Their nickname was the Hamster.
Oh, okay. Yep, I knew it. I didn't need that last hint. I was gonna guess Doug Martin, but now Muscle Hamster. I knew it.
Ding 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 ding.
I was gonna guess Reggie Bush before, but I was like, I don't think that's the right year though. But my guess before Doug Martin was Reggie Bush.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was probably like what 2010, 2011.
Yeah, it was
Probably
more.
not much of a difference.
It was more just because of him being in the news too with the Johnny Manziel stuff. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
should've
oh,
told you
that might make sense.
I made that game way back when the last time we were going to record.
Oh, that's funny. Well, it was a fun game.
That would have been an irrelevant. I can't believe how bad you are at coin tosses. You got 4 out of 10. You went under 15%.
I got 3. I thought. Oh wait, did I go 4?
You had. Oh yeah, no, you had 4 because you knew that he was retired. You had offense.
No, you told me he
NFC,
was retired
running back.
afterwards because you felt bad. I got 3 for 10.
No,
Yeah, you said
because.
Yeah, you did. You said afterwards you were like because for the sake of the game, I'll tell you he's retired or something.
Oh, maybe.
I got 3 for 10. This is so funny.
So don't pick coin tosses anymore.
Yeah.
How about
the legend lives on.
That's pretty So now next time we do one, I'll do the quiz where you have to guess my thought process and you come up with a player and a list of clues for me. We'll reverse the roles.
We'll do it.
I'm into that. And we can do that week by week, over under like player projections, over under on like what the result of a game would be. You can.
Yeah.
That's something that can doesn't have to just be like preseason predictions. If you.
No, I'm down.
Like it.
It's a fun game.
I'm down.
I'm down.
And it could be any player.
Yeah, until the season starts, I think we might as well. So yeah, I guess we can wrap it up there.
Your controversial opinion.
It's time for your strong opinion of the day, and that is that NFL Red Zone is the best way to watch football.